Nintendo. Nintendo, I have things to do. I'm buying a fucking house. I need to look at warranties and mortgages, and you're making me. Oh. Oh. Okay. 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 Fuck you, I'm not editing this. Okay. So, it is April 13th, 2023, and lo and behold, the third and final trailer for Tears of the Kingdom has dropped. And originally I wasn't gonna, react to it, analyze it, or anything. It's just a trailer, we've seen a bunch of trailers. What could they show? What do they have to show? Okay. So I've already watched it, but I'm going to go through and analyze it. No face cam for the reaction, because I've already seen it. And let's just watch it through one time, and then we'll see what we think. Nice music. We see enemies fighting. Yeah. All looking good so far. Nothing too new, A couple things you could point out, but Tulin, and already some say, oh my lord, what the fuck? What the fuck? Is that okay? Oh, okay, a nice, oh, is that, wait, is that, and, oh my, okay, we've seen that, but whoa, wait, are those? Oh, is that? Hang on. And oh, okay. So we got resolution at least. And we get okay. What? What the fuck? Wait, swimming? What? Lasers? What? 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 Okay. Ooh. This is Ooh. Wait. What are you? Who are you? Oh, this is. Oh. Interesting. Interesting.
Zelda, we rely on your knight and that legendary sword he carries. Our last line of defense will be Link.
Yes.
Link.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This is okay. Oh, him. Oh, them. Oh, cool. 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 Oh. That what? Are you okay? What? Oh. My. Oh God. What is that? Oh my lord.
I know why I am here. It's something only I can do.
Oh, is it? Oh, what's this? Oh, okay. Oh.
Do not look away. You witness a king's revival.
Hey, Matt. Oh,
the birth of his new world.
Oh, that is fully. Okay, that is. Right.
Okay. Let's go.
Oh, right. Oh, cool. Oh, cool. Cool. What? Wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Oh, wow. That was wow. 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 Wow.
Link.
Oh?
You must find me.
Wow. And there you have a fairly accurate recreation of my initial reaction to this trailer. Oh my lord. Okay. So, let's start over. Let's actually go in a bit more depth here, because that was, well, okay. Okay. So, we start off fairly normal, you know, descending from the clouds. We see sky islands, you know, we've already seen a fair bit of this, you know. We see, now here is something interesting. We see a choo-choo and one of those ancient things. I forget what they're called, but we see them fighting. Okay, so we see a bit of, they're not on the same side. They're sort of different factions. We see one of these trying to chop down a tree, and we see Link diving down. Again, nothing too shocking, although I would point out here, apologies for the lawnmower outside. We see one of these things in the Sky Islands, so clearly not just a surface thing. Do you mind? Jesus Christ. Okay. So we see one of these things on the Sky Islands. Very interesting. Also diving down from above this island, which maybe there's a way to get up there. Maybe there are things up there. It's entirely possible, I think, that it's just like developer tricks, but so we see him diving down. Again, nothing too shocking here. Mostly just stuff we've seen and a better view of the Grand Hyrule. Title drop here. And we see him pull a paraglider. Dangerously high up, I would say. Just down. Right. Massively changed skyline. That's nothing too shocking. We've already seen hints of that. But, you know. Here, okay. So first off, Tenno's been hit by a mushroom craze. Yeah, we see, these, like, structures that resemble mushrooms and have mushrooms printed on them. We see her with a mushroom hat. We see this store with much more mushroom appearance. Fungus, maybe? I don't know what it's implying, but okay. And here we have the old Hyrule Castle Town with more settlements set up. We see tents, and we see what look to be construction projects. I think more buildings are demolished than in Breath of the Wild, though don't quote me on that. I see birds. We continue on here, and we see a bit closer of this thing we could see off in the distance, and a better view of this thing, which still don't know what the it is. Could honestly be anything at this point, but yes, we see very interesting things here that are not quite explained yet. So, in this wider shot, we see sort of this area, and does this look familiar? Does this look familiar to you at all? Because it does to me. Because you see these hills and these valleys and this. So Kakariko is fucked. That's fun. Big trailer shot. I don't know what the purpose of this specific shot is. There's a sky island here, which is geometry, and yeah, I don't know. Here's where we get into overdrive. So we get to the desert, and now this could be a sky island raising up from underground. I think that is very probable. But Another very probable thing that I think this could be, this looks like a dungeon being raised from the ground. This looks like a full temple being raised from the ground in the Gerudo Desert. I have no way of confirming one way or the other yet, but certainly the coolest job effect would suggest, yes, this is as we see Hyrule Castle raising. And as we see here, we see, apologies for the progress bar, it's just difficult to remove. We see a bunch of Sheikah gathered around here, all looking at this raising and the falling stones, and then we get this very demise-looking picture of who we later see is definitely Ganondorf, but in front of a large blood moon. And this sequence that we assume is fairly early in the game. We see Link diving down to catch Zelda. And okay. New things. So we have these sinkholes. These could be Moldugas, a lot of Moldugas, but personally, I think it's, given the motion here, it's either like a set of sinkholes in the sand, or it could be like new enemies, but I think this might be either a new hazard in the desert or a way of accessing the underground segments of the map, which we know exist at this point, but we haven't seen how we get there necessarily, assuming we don't just go into caves and all. But yes, we see these sinkholes here, and again, here we are in the underground, and we see, I guess it could be the interior of the Sky Islands. That is very possible. I don't think it's made clear yet, but we will see. But we see falling lava, so if I had to guess an in-game location for this, probably inside Death Mountain or something like that. You see, and here we see flying ships, which very Norse flying ships, but not surprising, I suppose. I'm not sure if these are like a fixture or if these are one of those things that like you can make or what, because we will see some very interesting things that I assume are constructed later on. And then, so one thing you really couldn't do in Breath of the Wild was swim underwater. So I find it very interesting that they have these like floating water things with like, I assume like this in the center is like holding the water together, like it's a gravity thing or whatever, but yeah. So we see that. And this like dive into like, this is a very natural thing for a game with a diving mechanic. It's not necessarily something I necessarily expected, but yeah, I'm assuming this is like, if not like one of the shrine equivalents, then probably like an entrance to a dungeon or a set piece or something, but it will be very interesting to see if there are more like this. We see one of these, which looks like a gacha machine, and we see him turning this crank to move a massive structure, which I find interesting because in the Divine Beasts in Breath of the Wild, you'd move it through the map. So if this is like an in the dungeon thing, then this is very interesting change from Breath of the Wild. If it's just a world thing, that's very weird. I'm curious what this gacha machine is, because my main theory right now is it's basically like construction stuff. Like things you can move around with the Ultra Hand in order to create like devices while in places that don't necessarily have a lot of things that like you can make devices with, you know? Again, that is just a theory though. It could be any number of things. Might not even be a gotcha. Might be totally misinterpreting that. That's what I'm seeing right now, but you see him move that. Sail through this place that looks like one of the labyrinths. Might just be one of the labyrinths again. And here we see a lot. So we see a new weapon that Link can wield. It might be a fusion of multiple things. It's hard to say, but no higher quality, unfortunately, for this. We also see it's not just Link and a handful of wanderers. Now, there are a lot of Hylians fighting a lot of monsters. Which is very interesting. Also, he appears to be riding Epona. Maybe it's still the amiibo functionality. Maybe Epona can actually be found in the world now. Or maybe it's not Epona, it's just a horse that looks a lot like Epona. It's difficult to say. But yeah, we see Hylians fighting the mobs. And we move on to... So, okay. We see him rising through an elevator, which... A lot of things that this could be, but a lot of things it could not be. Just notice this. Not sure what this is. And we move on to this, which... For some reason, the first thing that pops into my mind when I look at this face is Melania. The horse god. I don't know. I think it could also be like a new sentient enemy. Could also be like a Yiga thing, could be a Sheikah thing, and it could very easily be a Zonai thing. It is difficult to say at this moment because looks kind of kitted out like a Zonai, but you know, the eye, horns, it's all very weird. But we linger on this for a while, and again, looks a lot like Epona, but, you know, difficult to say. We see one of these big, like, constructs, that's the name, a big old construct rising out of what seems to be like a wall fixture. See it coming out, and we see Link in a very clean, very restored Hyrule Castle, like the central room. I forget what it's called, but that's very interesting considering everything else we see of Hyrule Castle. But here, legitimately, I thought this was the reveal of playable Zelda. And it could still be implying that. I think that is, like, if that's not, like, the direct, like, reveal or implication, it is, like, them very much setting people up to think playable Zelda. But I don't think it's going to be, like, oh, you can play through Zelda throughout the whole game, or, like, you can explore Hyrule from the start as Zelda. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're probably going to get certain sections in, like, wherever Zelda is where we can play as her. And I'm very interested in how they would do that. But that is my main theory. And perhaps, like, once we save her, because obviously we're going to save her, but once we do that, I think maybe we can explore Hyrule as Zelda, or probably with Zelda, based on what we see later. But I don't know. We see very, like, this looks like a protagonist shot of like, oh, it's the player character and, you know, activating things. But it's hard to say exactly.
Knight, and that legendary sword he carries.
We see Link drawing the Master Sword. Or about to draw the Master Sword. And here we see Zelda looking completely different. Being approached by, I assume, like a Zonai or Sheikah something. It sounds sort of like her father, but I don't think it's her father. Because that would be very weird. Might also be Matt Mercer again. Matt Mercer might just be playing every male character in this game. That's a joke, but yeah, I'm voice blind, voice deaf. I don't know. I can't tell voices apart. It's boy. But we see it's hand stuff, so probably not like a Ganon thing, probably like a Zonai thing. And we see Zelda here confirming, yes, this figure is Zelda.
Link.
Link on this Loftwing glider again. I want to back up a few frames to see what this is. This is absolutely ridiculous, but it's also very logical. Like, you can fuse things to swords, you can fuse things to shields, you can fuse swords to swords. Of course you can fuse a shield to a sword. And this is, yeah. So, shield sword, which can be used to, like, parry, I guess? And, like, judging by the appearance, it, like, breaks, like, his weapon, or it breaks the shield sword itself. It's difficult to say from this particle effects and all. We see Link flying over what appears to be a floating orb, possibly the same thing we saw earlier. We see what looks like a Goron? If not a Goron, then, like, something that moves fast in a ball with flame. We also see Link, Trampoline, and Tuli. I believe was his name. Tuli. So, not Teba. Teba, because otherwise we see, like, the new champions from Breath of the Wild with Link. But this looks like Teba's son, Tuli, which I find very interesting. I guess in terms of, like, I don't know. It's an interesting choice. It might not mean that Teba is completely absent, because later we see, you know, just random NPCs with Link, but I find it interesting that they show off Tuli here, and here we see Link dragging a wagon of people behind his horse, which there's just so much to say about this. So, side quests are going to be very interesting. And here we see one of the uses for recall. So it's not just a situational get up to the Sky Islands thing. It can actually be used in combat, and it can be used, it's not just like reversing momentum, it is fully like rewinding an object's movement. So sending things back to enemies, yeah, that's a fairly sensible thing. So that's just a full-on rocket. Like they've been playing it fast and loose with, like, the Magitech stuff. That is just fully a rocket. Yeah, I don't know what else to add. It's a fucking rocket that you can grab onto. And this seems to be, like, more vertical, like, structures for the goblins and stuff. And here, see more Sky Island stuff. The jumping here is very interesting. Makes me think like gravity mockery. And here, oh god, this reminds me, and this is going to be a weird ass pull. This reminds me of that one level in Triforce Heroes. I think it was a boss fight where you were like riding on minecarts and your enemies were riding on a separate minecart and you fought across them. Like, that is what this brings to mind. Yeah, I don't know. This could be like a set piece. It could be part of a dungeon. It could be like a shrine or something. It could just be something you find out in the world. It could be something that happens organically. Because we see, that Ultra Hand glue there. But and we see this structure, which we saw before. We saw like stuff being built on the Hinoxes? No. Talrocks? Something. The rock people. Yeah. This is interesting. This looks like so we can make battle bots. We can make, yeah. Hope we get Shremex. Also, Link can wear a skirt. Or that Zelda. Good for them either way. We see Link riding a bare armored horse with what looks to be a ruby on the end of his arrow, or something like a rupee. Not rupee, ruby with a B. The gem. So, yeah, you can use rubies as fire, it seems. We also see a bit more armor here. We see that it's not just Link. It seems that or it might just be Link and he's done some really funky stuff with the Ultra Hand, but it looks like the Bokoblins and other enemies have access to like Ultra Hand devices the same, but Link can activate them in that case. And here, so we're not just getting the Blight bosses this time. I think it's fair to say this is going to be like if not like a main boss, certainly a very climactic encounter of a boss fight. So, and here,
I know why I am here.
we see more Zelda.
Something only I can.
Very Gerudo, very Zonai thing. Obviously, it's just one half of the yin yang. I forget what it's called, but it's like the thing that the Magatama is in. It might just be called the Magatama in real life. And Ace Attorney just straight up used that name, but I don't know. I'm not particularly knowledgeable about these things, but yeah, I recognize the shape. You see Ganondorf clearly doing things.
Look away.
Bringing back the Lionels, which very fun, very good.
Witness a king's revival.
And we see Link's arm getting corrupted, like we've seen before, I think. And here, go frame by frame. Big muscly right arm with jewelry and chains. See big muscly, well, not big muscly, we don't really see it, but we see a shrouded left arm with ring. And here's our money shot. All those memes about rehydrated Ganon. You know, I honestly did not think we were going to be getting anything like this. Obviously, I think his skin is still, like, gray or something, which makes sense. He is undead, clearly, but they keep the forehead gem, they keep the beard, and yeah, smash. We see this. This looks like one of those malice creatures, honestly, from Breath of the Wild. A malice alligator? I don't know.
Okay.
And Tuli again. Tuli has lines and cutscenes now, so yeah. Maybe no, Teba. It's difficult to say what the hell's going on there, but...
Let's go!
Well, don't want to skip past her. I don't know who this is. This might be Zelda, might be a past incarnation of Zelda, it might be Hylia. I don't know. I really don't. The ears make me think not like current day Hylians, but, you know, current day, you know, Breath of the Wild era, Tears of the Kingdom era, you know what I mean. And dressed in that, we assume Zonai garb. We're assuming a lot of this is Zonai because context clues, but yeah. Might not be, might be old Chica, might just be like old Hylian or something. It's hard to say. Kuleshov effect. Here we have glowing hand, a massive beam striking the land. Yeah, there's not really... Yeah, we see it coming from like a castle or something. But striking the... They're not full Moldugas. They're like mini Moldugas, it looks like. We see Riju making grand return, seemingly with Oberst's Fury. And here we see Link hanging out with a bunch of NPCs. We see a Gerudo guard, we see a bunch of Hylians, and we see a Goron. So, it's possible we can adventure with other people.
You are...
Because we see Link fighting alongside Sidon. And we hear there, let me just rewind a bit here.
But you are not alone.
Yeah, we're not alone. Fight Sidon. Riju and Sidon together, along with, yeah, we see Tuli again. And the big dragon... Is it Gleeok? I think it might be Gleeok. Because, you know, it's a very fiery Gleeok, but it is, like, it's not unheard of. But, yeah.
You are our final hope.
And we see Zelda with the Master Sword, which... Interesting. And, yes. We see very clearly Ganondorf, a bunch of monsters with people in the midst, presumably fighting back against Ganondorf. Here's the kingdom. And as our last little... Oh, also, there's this, which Sun, Blood Moon, difficult to say. But we also see
Link.
Zelda here, seemingly holding something. It's hard to tell what it is. Possibly like thing we've seen before, but what she says.
You must find me.
So I don't know. And of course, ending with the first 3 notes of Zelda's lullaby. So, what does all that mean? What's going to happen? What can we do? I think this is going to be very interesting. And as you've probably figured out by what I've said so far, I am not 100% confident theorizing about anything. I have theories, obviously, but I am not about to sit here and say, like, oh, this is definitely going to happen, or we're almost certainly going to get this. I have theories. I think we might get playable Zelda to some degree. I think we're probably going to get, like, the other champions, at least, that, like, can come with us and accompany us. I think Teba is probably getting the short end of the stick. If not Yunobo, we didn't see him all that much, at least. There's a couple of things that it could have been Yunobo. I think we're going to get a lot of past stuff as well. Like, it might be flashbacks again. It might be legit time travel, which, you know, hardly unheard of for the Zelda series. And I think there's going to be, like, crowd mechanics, like mob, like killings and other races. And I think, and I know this is going to be a wild take, but I think this is going to be a very interesting game. So let me know what you think in the comments below, if I actually end up publishing this. And thanks for watching, I guess. Peace.